Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to continue on with part three of the little series, Do You Have a Kingdom Worldview? And again, I'm not doing a entire systematic teaching on this subject. I'm just throwing out some things there to maybe get you to think in a little bit different way, to expand your horizons as to what is possible for us in the call of God. We've been talking about authority and influence in the earth, our authority and influence in the earth. Now, if we go to Psalm 8, we find that even after Adam and Eve's fall into sin in Eden, that we still retain the delegated authority that was set out in Genesis chapter 1. And Psalm 8, verses 4 to 6, I believe, says, "What is man that you take thought of him, and the Son of Man that you care for him? Yet you made him a little lower than Elohim. You have crowned him with glory and majesty. You make him to rule over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet." So that reaffirms that even after Eden, we still retain our authority. But we'd have to admit that when we look around, it doesn't appear that we have anywhere near that level of authority. And we don't even see how that's possible to exercise that kind of level of authority. But then, if we go to Hebrews chapter 2, we find that it picks up on that thread. It quotes Psalm 8, those very same verses, and then it presents a solution to our dilemma. Verse 8 says, "You have put all things in subjection under his feet. For in subjecting all things to him, he left nothing that is not subject to him. But now we do not yet see all things subjected to him. But we do see him who is made for a little while lower than the angels, namely Jesus, because of the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, so that by the grace of God he might taste death for everyone." Actually, I'd urge you to read the verses before and after that to get a fuller picture. But anyway, we find that our solution to our apparent helplessness is in the new man, the second Adam, Jesus, who represented all authority, represents all humanity in the resurrected and ascended Christ. He's the one with all the authority in heaven and earth, and our place is in him. He's the one with all authority in heaven and earth as a resurrected man, as we talked about in number 2. Our place is in Christ. So by faith in him, we enter into the completeness of his work. Now, the very beginning of the book of Hebrews, it actually sets out or establishes the whole book of Hebrews just in the first few verses. It tells us how in times past, God spoke to the fathers, those of the Old Testament, in the prophets, in many portions and in many ways, but in these last days, he has spoken to us in his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things. So that establishes that God now speaks to us in the completeness of Christ, because all things are summed up in him. And actually, anything that is not according to the complete redemption of Christ is not our portion. It's not for us. It's something that we are redeemed from. It's not God's perfect will. If it's not based in the fullness of Christ, if it's not based in what Jesus Christ has accomplished on the cross, that's not our portion. That's not our inheritance. So anyway, whereas in the Old Testament, those who lived then only saw portions of God's redemptive intentions through, his various deliverances by the word of his prophets, but now we have everything in Christ, the full deal. And, if you're going to the Hall of Faith in chapter 8, it outlines some of those Old Testament saints' exploits. They were each In their callings, they were faithful to the portion that God revealed to them and the thing that God told them to do in their time, which is why they ended up in the Hall of Faith. They obtained many promises, but yet they didn't receive the promise, which is full redemption in Christ. Hebrews 11:39 and 40 to 40 says, and all of these, having gained approval through their faith, did not receive what was promised. See, they received promises, but they did not receive the big one because God had provided something better for us so that apart from us, they would not be made perfect. Now, my point today is just to say that we have completeness in Christ. And in Him, we are able to exercise the authority of our original mandate, which is restored. And it's through faith, adherence to, and yieldedness to Him that we appropriate our promise. So until next time, I'm hoping that just gave you a little bit of food for thought. If you have any questions or comments, you can go ahead and put them underneath the video. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye for now.